It's the Michael Patrick Leahy Show, broadcasting live from downtown Nashville. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
And welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. In studio, we are joined by our newest all-star panelist and guest host here frequently at the Michael Patrick Leahy Show, E.J. Haast. Welcome, E.J.
Good morning, everybody.
A refugee from Minnesota Stan who loves it here in state income tax-free Tennessee. Well, there's just so much to talk about. And there's a particular angle that we want to discuss. It has to do with Joe Biden's horrific pardon of his crooked son, Hunter Biden. I want to just talk about the application of the rule of law here.
Okay.
The Constitution allows the president to issue pardons. This is perhaps the broadest pardon that we've ever seen.
Sweeping.
Sweeping, yeah. Typically, the pardon power has been used to pardon somebody who has been either charged with a crime or convicted of a crime or convicted and served a sentence. That's typically where a pardon is used. In this instance, this is a pardon that goes back to everything Hunter Biden was convicted of or may have been convicted of at the federal level back from January 1st, 2014, all the way to December 1st, 2024. That's 10 years and 11 months.
Crimes yet to be discovered, discussed, charged, going way back to 2014. I mean, really think about everything that we have been through since 2014. Obama was president, Vice President Joe Biden at the time. We went through Burisma and that corruption, and we knew that there was something else there. I don't think this is I mean, everyone knows it's not just about, petty gun crimes and some silly things that we've already discussed. This isn't about his drug use or, his hookers and there's so many other things there. This is larger. And the reason it's larger is because of the timing. Because it mentions specifically that it is crimes that have not yet been committed, that maybe he did, maybe he didn't.
I don't know.
Federal crimes against the USA.
Like being the bag man for his crooked dad's
exactly right.
millions of dollars that he got from Ukraine. And, when he was vice president, he went over to Ukraine and said, my boy's on Burisma's board, and you got an attorney general investigating. You got to fire him or you're not going to get American money.
Right.
Now, there's a I want to play all the Democrats. The
montages.
We've compiled all of the Democrats who said no one is above the law. Let's see that montage here for a second, Patrick.
The idea that no person is above the law is a bedrock principle of American justice.
No man is above the law, no matter what the crime.
And I agree with you. No man is above the law, and no person is above the law.
No one is above the law.
No one is above the law.
No one's above the law.
No one is above the law.
No man is above the law.
Nobody is above the law.
No one is above the law.
No man is above the law.
He has to be held accountable. He's not above the law.
No one's above the law. Either that nor any other title puts you above the rule of law.
No one is truly above the law.
Okay, we could go on forever.
For an hour.
They're all Democrats.
Including Pence, because he was up there too.
Oh, was Pence too? Well, he
was part of that montage.
I would say he's a Democrat.
I would say
he's
he's not, he's leaning.
He's a weasel.
Right.
He's a weasel.
Yeah, I find it interesting that no one is above the law. No one is above the law. Typically comes from sycophants and radical lefties. That's their line that they say, and not just in this case but in plenty of cases over the years. That seems to be well, when it comes to Hillary Clinton, they were no one is above the law, and saying that if there's anything there, then she's going to be charged and whatever, and if, it's silly. And then of course they've said it how many times because of the Donald Trump indictments and the convictions and all of these things. Well, no one is above the law. To them, it's everybody's above the law, right? Like they're all, breaking the law and corrupt, and we all know this. It's not a big surprise. What I find interesting is the people that are like, well, you know, he's just this great dad. You know, you would do it too. As a mom, I've been asked, I don't know how many times now, like, well, wouldn't you pardon your son? You're missing the bigger picture when you ask that question. Forget for a moment that it's probably more about Jill and Joe Biden, protecting Jill and Joe Biden going forward, right? It's probably more about protecting the crime family. But like, I wouldn't put, as a mother, any son of any other mother or my own, like, I wouldn't put my son in a crime family. Think about that for a second. Like, and he's a grown adult. Like, we're talking about things that happened in his 50s, his 40s and 50s.
He's not a little child?
He's not some teenager that, you know, went doing donuts in a parking lot somewhere, ding-dong ditched on the weekends.
If he's doing donuts, the donuts that he did were like little white powder donuts on his that he created on his kitchen table.
Just silly. Like as a father, if he was truly a decent human, if he was a decent father, Hunter wouldn't be in this position to begin with, because he wouldn't have installed him at Burisma. He would not have given him all of the access to all of these corrupt institutions and people across the world. International crime family is what he brought his son up in.
A breaking story from left-wing Associated Press from Luanda, Angola, which is where you go if you're president.
When you want,
if you
news.
pardoned your son and you don't want to talk to the press. Let me just read this. President Joe Biden on Tuesday ducked questions on his decision to break his word, this is AP saying this, and pardon his son Hunter, ignoring calls for him to explain his reversal as he was making his first, his first presidential trip to Angola. You know, because that's where you go after you pardon your son for 10 years.
I mean, I'm sure he is trying to, and again, I don't even think it's him. He doesn't know how to tie his shoes, right? Like, we're not talking about actual Joe Biden here. We are talking about Jill Biden. We are talking about all of the Obama holdovers that are still within the administration. We are talking about the handlers, right? Like, we're talking about the Soroses, George and Little Soros. Like, all of those people are the ones who are actually calling the shots here.
The rest of the story from this morning, literally just about an hour and a half ago, published by Associated Press, dismissing shouted questions with a laugh during a meeting with Angolan President João Lourenço at the presidential palace. Because, you know, you got to talk to João Lourenço.
Critical in the last months of your presidency, said no one ever.
Biden said to the Angolan delegation, "Welcome to America." Huh? That's weird. Biden was not scheduled to take questions from the press during his trip to Africa.
Of course.
Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre told reporters on Monday, and he has largely avoided any interaction with reporters since President-elect Donald Trump's victory last month. He's not going to talk to anybody.
No, and isn't that why they took KJP on the trip?
Yeah, she's
right?
there.
She's
the
there, so
human
she doesn't
buffer.
have to. Yeah, so she doesn't have to do a press briefing this week. She doesn't have to be in the room with Ducey when he asks her, what's going on with this.
What do you think? What will Peter do? Well, first, will there ever be another Biden White House press briefing? I mean, because we've got.
Oh, good question.
We've got 47 days. 47 full days.
With a couple of holidays mixed in, right? So,
No.
I mean, maybe not. We might not see another one, which I'm kind of okay with. Honestly, that we don't get much out of it other than the sound bites from Ducey every once in a while.
It's so insulting.
Yeah.
I mean,
they don't really accomplish much.
No, but it's almost like you're watching a dinosaur die. Mm-hmm. The dinosaurs go extinct. That's how I look at this when I look at all of the yakety yak from the regime media types. I think with the rise of podcasts and alternative media, people are saying, you can't be a liar that much and think we're that stupid, because guess what?
We're going to figure it out.
Well, if more we get back, I'm Michael Patrick Leahy. She's EJ Host.
My fellow Americans, I have to tell you about my good friends at D.T. McCall & Sons. They have furniture and appliances and a lot more. They've been family-owned in Middle Tennessee for over 100 years, and they're not going to rip you off. No hidden charges, no delivery charges, no charges for all of the crazy things. These are sick people at the lumber yards. These are very sick people. They charge you for cords and hoses and haul off. They charge you for all of these things. They call them hidden charges. It's the type of surprise that you don't want to see. It's like an October surprise, but it's worse. D.T. McCall & Sons, they're not going to do that. They're great people. They're going to give you a great deal. With locations in Lebanon, Carthage, Lafayette, Cookeville, and Franklin, D.T. McCall & Sons will give you the deal of your life. Check them out today or go to dtmccalls.com.
Impersonator not endorsed by Donald Trump.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
And welcome back. In studio, newest All-Star panelist, good friend E.J. Haast. E.J., you know, I keep threatening to write another book. I was on a period of time. I wrote about 5 self-published books on various topics. Rules for Conservative Radicals, the biography of Barack Obama, biography of Sarah Palin, and at least 500 people read, you know, some of those books. Then in 2011, a guy was reading, an agent was reading the New York Times, and David, David? I should know the name. He's a very obnoxious guy.
Okay.
David Brooks.
Oh, okay.
Obnoxious guy. Wrote a column in the New York Times making fun of my book, Rules for Conservative Radicals. And an agent at Trident Media who had just joined with him, Don Fair, was reading it and was looking for new clients. And he read that and said, this might be interesting. He called me up and he said, would you like to have me represent you? Now, that never happens.
Sure.
In the world of books, which has changed dramatically. And so he became my literary agent. And he was buddies with Adam Bellow, the great Adam Bellow, who has published perhaps every great conservative book for the past 15 years. And I got a deal with HarperCollins, and I wrote the book, Covenant of Liberty, The Ideological Origins of the Tea Party Movement. It was published in 2000. Actually, the call came in December of 2010. And the book, I spent 2011 basically writing the book. And it was published in March 2012. I did the rounds. I was on Morning Joe. I think I told you about that.
Yeah.
I was on Lou Dobbs, and it was fun. But again, I think at least 5,000 people read the book. Now, and book publishing has changed dramatically since then. Really,
audiobooks and then they turn books into podcasts now. Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, celebrities will write books, and a lot of people will buy them, but nobody will read those books because they're like, who cares?
Oh, I'm guilty. I used to make the circuits, make the rounds, and buy all the conservative books.
And so the reason you would buy the book was not to read it, but so that when the author came by, he would sign it and you get a picture with the author.
Sure.
That was the reason, right? But none of them were really. And I thought at the time, well, I'm going to be writing all these books. That was 12 years ago. Well, I would say we have written another book. I was a lead author on the Guide to the Constitution, Bill of Rights for high school students.
Oh, wow.
And which has been used as part of our Constitution piece. So I'd say we've added that. But I keep threatening to write another book. And I think I'm going to.
And the topic is?
The Golden Age of America.
Golden Age of America.
Donald Trump's second term.
Okay.
And how he's going to create. He talks about it. I believe we're going there. Now, this is a long way to get to this. I thought back in 2012, there was a guy by the name of James Bennett who wrote a book on the Anglosphere and how the Anglosphere would preserve the rule of law and individual liberty and save Western civilization.
Okay.
And at that time, the Anglosphere would be the United Kingdom and Australia and New Zealand and Canada. But whoa. Whoa.
Yeah, wait a minute.
Curveball city.
Right.
Right? Because if you look at individual liberty and the rule of law, that's why this election was so dramatic. Because people knew that if Donald Trump did not win and the leftists took over, that it would be the end of liberty and Western civilization.
All you have to do is look at what all of those countries you just mentioned did during COVID, and you know where they lean.
Yeah, and they've gone really, in 12 years, every other English-speaking nation that's part of the old Anglosphere, except for the United States, has gone, pretty much totalitarian.
Radical change.
Yeah, and of course the United Kingdom, part of the problem in the United Kingdom is because they've opened up the borders and they've got all these Islamists there now, and they're putting people in jail for exercising free speech. Yikes. But it's not just there, it's Canada. Canada, oh my goodness.
Canada's on fire. Some of the protests happening in Canada right now are pretty severe.
Well, and the lead authoritarian there is, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. Okay, so this is a long way to get to this story. But now, after Trump threatens tariffs unless you stop all these terrorists coming in from Canada, Justin Trudeau comes to kiss the ring at Mar-a-Lago, flies down, doesn't have an invite. Anyways, Peter Ducey had this clip that we played earlier, but we'll play it again. It's really funny.
And tonight we're getting some new details about that Trump-Trudeau dinner from two people who were at the table. We are told that when Trudeau told President-elect Trump that new tariffs would kill the Canadian economy, Trump joked to him that if Canada can't survive without ripping off the U.S. to the tune of $100 billion a year, then maybe Canada should become the 51st state and Trudeau could become its governor.
Now that's funny. Except
hilarious.
Except then they subsequently said, well, somebody at that table said, well, the problem is it's very liberal. Well, I'll tell you what he said. We'll split it into two different states. The West, where they're conservative for the most part, and then, the rest of Canada, where they're much more liberal. And, Trudeau, you can be governor of one of them.
Right.
Now, that's what you call a power move.
Oh, it was the whole thing was a power move. So, yes, he was invited to dinner. Yes, he sat at the table with Trump.
Well,
yes,
actually,
he was allowed to have a photo taken.
Well, hold on. First, he says, well, can I come down? Pretty please. Right. Actually, I don't even know if I think he just got on the plane. Right?
May have, because he had no plans to where to stay that night.
And it wasn't like Trump invited him to come down. He said, I got to come down. So he came down, and you had some more information to share with us.
I do. It's actually getting out there pretty widely now, but I've got friends down in that area, West Palm Beach area or whatever, who shared pretty early on that he didn't have a hotel room for that night. He assumed he was staying at Mar-a-Lago. He was not invited to spend the night in a building that has 126 rooms. It is 62,500 square feet. I'm pretty sure they could have found a cot, a futon.
Did he stay at a Motel 6 or something?
No, but he did not speak to reporters as he walked into his hotel. He had all of his things. He had no hotel booked. They had to scramble to get him a hotel.
Oh, so he did go to another hotel.
He did.
And he went, know where it was.
Yep. And in fact, there's some people now who are posting. There were reporters there at the hotel when he was walking in. He did not speak or answer any questions, Trudeau.
So the message is, who's the big dog?
Right. I mean, power move. It was brilliant. There won't ever be another Donald Trump. What he was able to accomplish. And now Trudeau knows exactly where he stands. Right?
Not as an invited guest. But it's important. Why? Because I'll tell you why it's important. I say all these things that Trump is doing are great because he's telling the world, that America is the leader of the world. And freedom and liberty still exist in the United States of America. That's important for the rest of the world to understand that.
It is. It shows why we are a superpower as a nation. But, it also just says Dad's home and he's pissed. Everybody's been acting up, all you little teenagers all over the world. throwing temper tantrums and pushing the limits. Dad's home. Everybody's getting punished. You're going to get back in line. I appreciate that in him. And I thought this story in particular was just awesome. I loved it.
But we're going to see more and more of it. And look, what I like about it is he's in your face. Mm-hmm. And what he's saying is, I don't think the rest of the world or the rest of the regime media quite understands it. We've broken the code, guys. And now he got a mandate. And he is going to execute that mandate.
Right.
And your job is to basically say, yes, sir, the country wants to go in a different direction.
Yeah.
They picked you.
Right.
And we're going in that different direction.
I think it's given all of us as voters, as people, as citizens of the United States, it's given all of us confidence. Mm-hmm. And that's probably the best part of the whole election, quite honestly. I mean, obviously, Trump is going to do what Trump is going to do, but we are bold now.
So this has been a theme of mine for a long time. It's about the return of the American character.
Which has been lacking. I love that.
Are not whiny. Mm-hmm. Americans don't complain. Americans are not victims. Americans are the winners. Americans are self-reliant. Americans are can-do. Mm-hmm. They're not whiny you-know-whats. That's why MSNBC is about to be history.
Right.
Back with more after this.
Hey there, this is Lenny McGill, founder and CEO of The Glock Store. As a proud sponsor of this show, you may have heard Michael Patrick Leahy mention us a few times over the past 4 years. But today, it's me on the radio telling you how pleased we are to be associated with Michael Patrick Leahy and his dedication to the highest levels of professional journalism. Michael Patrick Leahy has been threatened with jail time in bringing the true facts about that Nashville Covenant shooting to his listening audience. Michael Patrick Leahy, you keep doing what you're doing, and we here at the Glock Store will keep sponsoring your show for the good of Nashville and the entire country. And I'm personally inviting all of your listeners to come visit and shoot at the Glock Store. It's where Michael Patrick Leahy learned to shoot a gun for the first time and where he bought his own personal Glock 19. I'm Lenny McGill, founder and CEO of the Glock Store here in Nashville, just minutes from the airports, worth the drive from anywhere, and a proud sponsor of Michael Patrick Leahy and the Tennessee Star Report.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
And welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. In studio, EJ Host. EJ, you know, we're talking about Donald Trump going for it.
Yes, sir.
He's going for it. He wants to reform the deep state. He basically, I mean, we've got our buddy Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy. I say Elon's not our buddy. We don't know Elon. We'd like to know Elon.
I mean, if you're listening, give us a shout. Hit my DMs on X.
So, yeah, let me just say this about Elon. I think we want to be his friend. I think what you do not want to ever do is work for Elon.
You know, it's a
boom,
good point.
you're fired.
Yeah, that's
boom,
a good
you're
point.
fired.
Yeah.
Of course, I don't have the technical skills or engineering skills that in any of his companies, but fascinating guy. And right now, you've got Elon and Vivek putting together the Department of Government and Efficiency. And I think I told you, I just finished the Walter Isaacson biography of Elon Musk. And I'm doing that guy. You know, you remember that old movie Office Space?
Yeah.
So what exactly is it you do here?
I can see him walking in, and there's memes about that.
He also, like when he took over Twitter, he met with like all 300 engineers, and he met with them for like, actually it was more than that. It's like 500, and he had 5 minutes with each of them. What do you do? What do you do? What do you do? What do you do? He fired like 85% of the engineers.
Right. He realized very quickly that they could do more with less.
So think about this. If you look at the federal government, I mean, because I once worked for the federal government for about a year and a half, shortly after college, and I can tell you that, you know, not much got done. I was in the budget part of the EPA for that period of time. And I swore I'd never work for the government again because of that experience. I mean, if he went into, and now like 90% of them are working from home, and you know what they're doing at home. They're playing solitaire or, you know, whatever, watching stuff they shouldn't be watching.
Very few people have the drive and the gumption to work from home. I like to say I've been working from home since before working from home was cool. I've done that for a lot. Like, you have to get up every morning and get dressed. You have to get all the way to the shoes, like dress to the shoes every single morning and put it together, whether you're on Zoom or not. You go to your space, whether it is a separate office space or your dining room table, but you have to do that every single day. You have to commit to working the hours that you say you're going to work. It's a lifestyle, and I can't imagine.
No, they're goofing off. They're watching porn or something.
There's so many thousands of employees of the government that just don't do that. Yeah.
And look, if you think about it, if he fired 85% of the engineers at Twitter before he changed ads.
I mean, if I worked for the government right now, my resume would be up on Indeed.
But he's going to be kind about it. He said, you know, look, he doesn't have any direct authority, asterisk. He's going to be an advisor to
He'll
the
make
OMB.
recommendations.
Well, OMB is, you know, our buddy Russ Vought, Center for Renewing America, who's a former, he knows where all the bodies are buried.
Sure.
And so he can get it done. But the point is that, I mean, I think easily you could fire 75% of federal government employees and it would not skip a beat.
Yeah, we wouldn't notice anything other than a whole bunch of federal employees looking for jobs.
And look, his ideas, like give him a 2-year severance and, you know, let him find a job and be more productive. I think that'd be great. And quit whining. You get 2 years of a severance. Come on. Welcome to the world of,
go learn a new skill. Isn't that what they always tell us?
Yeah.
When they want to eliminate some sort of environmental something or other, go learn a new skill.
The most brutal part of survival in an economy is if you're running a small business.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one that's the hardest.
Agreed.
As you know.
As I know.
Because, if you don't make the revenue, you can't pay the people.
You got to pay the people, right?
Now, having said all that, Trump, in a very bold move, has nominated our friend Kash Patel, who's 44 years old, a graduate of Pace University Law School, who's been been a prosecutor and
He's
also intelligence
phenomenal
officer.
Resume. Yeah.
Terrific resume and very, very effective guy. Nominated him to be Attorney General. And, of course, the usual wailing and gnashing of teeth. But look, Trump said the FBI is a disaster. We got to get somebody in there who's going to clean it up. And already, Kash Patel, who's been a guest on this program, has said that the director of the FBI should release all sorts of documents, including the Covenant Killer Manifesto, the 1,000 pages that we've been litigating in state and federal court. I have individually, and our company has been for a year and a half now.
Right.
We put the request in like the week after the shootings on March 27th, 2023. The lawsuits we filed in federal court and state court in May of 2023 at every step in the way. Metro Nashville Police Department and in the state case and the FBI in the federal case have resisted it. Now, we had a clip the other day of Kash talking to Glenn Beck about this, why this happens, because the FBI, if you don't play ball with them, they won't give you the money.
That's right.
And so that's why, and we also know that the day of the shooting, when they went to the residence of the shooter, it was Metro Nashville Police Department and members of the FBI who'd started collecting stuff. We know that from the inventory list where the FBI signed off on it. So they've been controlling this stuff ever since. Now, what we did is we went and we went ahead and basically after the election, we told the FBI, hey, why don't you release it now? Because
think how much we could learn from those writings.
And
how the psychology field doesn't want that information, isn't fighting harder than you to get it.
Yeah, they doubled down and said, no, we're not going to do it. Well, look, Kash Patel is the guy Trump wants. Kash Patel will release it. And now it looks like, increasingly, that Kash Patel will be confirmed. We've got a clip. Let's talk about your former governor of the state where you formerly lived. Ron DeSantis is doubling down in support of Kash Patel. Here we go.
But what do you say to the senators on Capitol Hill that are already quietly vowing to put up roadblocks to the president's choice to be FBI director, Kash Patel? What do you say to them given the outcome of this election?
So, one, I think you do owe the president a great deal of deference on his picks. Kash Patel understands the problems with the FBI, and he is a reformer that will not be captured by the bureaucrats. Contrast that to our current FBI director, Christopher Wray. We remember when he got appointed back in 2017, he immediately became a company man and was captured by that institution. He has not reformed it in any way, shape, or form. And so I actually think Kash has a lot of very significant experience that's important here. But put that aside, you can be the smartest guy in the world, you can have all this experience. If you don't understand that the institution needs to be reformed, if you get captured, then you're done. You're not going to be effective. And so I think Donald Trump in this pick and others, he's making sure he's getting people who have the proper posture to these institutions.
Yeah, the posture is let's clear out all the junk.
Right. And we're talking about director level stuff. There's a lot of people like, oh, he's not qualified, or this other nominee is not qualified, or whatever. If you are a people manager, a process manager, if you are an operations person, you don't necessarily have to be 20 years in that institution to be able to come in and reform it. In a lot of ways, actually, it's better if you didn't, because maybe you'll see things that others haven't until that point. More importantly, though, I think in terms of Kash Patel is that he is incredibly intelligent, but he's also very bold. He's unafraid. He's unapologetic. He's not holding back his opinions. And he's going to release, I mean, it's not just the Covenant shooter.
Yeah. Now, that's the one that we care about the most.
Right,
obviously.
because we're here in Nashville and because you've done so much
It's been
work
our
on
mission.
that. Yep. It's really should be released. I mean, for so many reasons, not the least of which, of course, being who, should be held responsible for different parts of that entire investigation. But also because, like I said, psychologically, that person was very damaged. We need to know what led to that so that it doesn't happen again. Right? Like, isn't that the whole point? But the Diddy list, the Epstein list.
Yeah.
I want to see it all.
So even German-owned Politico.
Yeah.
I don't know. Have you been around long enough with us to know that we always say German-owned because Politico, the number one political news outlet in the country, is German-owned.
German-owned, yeah.
Anyways, German-owned Politico. Even German-owned Politico says few GOP senators are raising early opposition to President-elect Donald Trump's pick to lead the FBI, Kash Patel. Even Susan Collins.
Wow.
R. Maine. R asterisk Maine.
Asterisk.
Who was outspoken.
Sure. We've spoken about her before. She's not my favorite.
Against Representative Matt Gaetz, potentially becoming Attorney General. Did not dismiss Patel. Said she needs time to review his profile. So she's open to it. Now, I have to say this about Susan Collins. The dynamic duo of
Murkowski.
Yeah, you knew exactly.
You know what I'm saying. I'd sit down, ladies.
So here's the thing. Of those two, the one I really would be delighted to see her leave is Murkowski. Mm-hmm. And the reason is because another Republican could be elected there. Susan Collins is from Maine. She's like an institution in Maine. She's kind of a quirky centrist, I would say.
Quirky, yes.
Quirky.
Centrist, maybe.
Center leftist.
Leans left.
But she's R. And I don't think a Republican other than Susan Collins could be elected to the United States Senate from Maine.
I think it is encouraging that she is not immediately opposed to Patel. I think that's great. Mm-hmm. I do think that there are other nominees who are going to steal a lot of the media attention. I think there will be a lot other headlines to care about, and perhaps Kash Patel will benefit from that.
There's one little twist on this. Mm-hmm. The way it works in the United States is that the president nominates the director of the FBI to a 10-year term.
Yes.
So he nominated Christopher Wray,
2017.
And I think within like a month, he went to the dark side. Mm-hmm. Went to the deep state dark side.
Yeah.
And he's been a problem ever since for any number of
potentially
reasons.
Compromised. Right? Like, who knows?
So here's the thing. And Christopher Wray says, I'm going to stay. Well, no. Trump fired Comey.
Yep.
And so, look, if you want to be frog marched out of the FBI building, just stick around because that's what's going to happen. I predict he will resign like on January 19th.
Perfect.
And then
that's the best outcome.
Kash will be confirmed as the director of the FBI, and the Covenant Killer Manifesto will be released shortly thereafter.
I hope so. I hope
to
you're
us.
Right. I hope you're right.
To us, because we requested it. And then we will have it, and we will share it with the public. How about that?
I think that sounds like a plan.
Back with EJ Haast after this.
My fellow Americans, I was this close, very close, to buying from the lumber yards. These are sick people. But I turned my head at the last second, and I saw a big, beautiful ad for D.T. McCall's. These are highly respected people. If I had not turned my head at the last second, I would have been ripped off at some lumber yard for $200 in hidden charges, and D.T. McCall & Sons are never going to do that. They'd never do that to you. These are great people. I've known them for a long time. They have great deals, and I just have to say, nobody knows deals like I do. D.T. McCall & Sons has locations in Lebanon, Carthage, Lafayette, Cookeville, and Franklin, and they have been family-owned in Middle Tennessee for over 100 years. These are tremendous people. D.T. McCall & Sons. Check out one of their stores today.
Impersonator not endorsed by Donald Trump.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
Welcome back. E.J. Haast is in studio. E.J., when you're not a guest here on the program or guest hosting the show, you have a business that you run. Tell us about the business.
I do. So it's called getfoundeverywhere.com. It's a platform for businesses, small businesses, businesses with multiple locations. A lot of times they struggle getting found on Google Maps, managing reviews. There's a lot of brand and security risk with sharing passwords to like social accounts and your Google business profile and all of those kinds of things. So we have a software that you log into in one place, and you can manage all of those things, even DMs and inbox messages across multiple platforms, posting to multiple social media platforms. We use AI, of course, to help you with all of that. And it's just a really affordable solution to be able to manage all of that online presence stuff. So it's called getfoundeverywhere.com.
Getfoundeverywhere.com. That's getfoundeverywhere.com. Well, as we close out this hour, I just have to do this story. We'd earlier played a clip of this. Remember when Donald Trump was in the debate and with Kamala Harris, and he was talking about they're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats.
Yes.
And then
in Springfield, Ohio.
In Springfield, yeah. He I think he said in Ohio they're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats, and then all the left said, oh, you're being mean to the Haitians. Or there's no evidence they're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats. Well, kind of, sort of.
There's no evidence of that until here's some evidence of that.
So this is from. Oh, do we have that clip? Let's get the clip. I got to play the clip for a little color here.
They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. Eat the cat. Eat the cat. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. Eat the cat. Eat the cat. They're eating
okay,
the cat.
so he does that, and all the.
Of course, it goes viral, right? Social media went bananas with it. It was great. Back
to the cultural dominance of the Make America Great Again movement and Donald Trump. That's part of it, right?
Yeah, for sure.
They're eating okay, so then the left says, the regime media, oh, no evidence, and there were a lot of reports in Springfield. But here's a story from SmokingGun.com. Ohio woman charged with eating cat pleads guilty to animal cruelty. Mm-hmm. Her name is Alexis Farrell. She's 27.
Farrell.
I know. You can't make this stuff up. She's 27. She was arrested in late August after she killed the cat by stomping on its head and then eating it.
Mm-hmm. And there's video, and it was really gross.
And yeah, so this was not in Springfield, Ohio. It was in Kenton, Ohio. And apparently, according to the stories, Miss Farrell is not a Haitian immigrant. I don't know. It doesn't say if she's an immigrant or American citizen. She may have been American. She's obviously got mental health problems. But the point is, they are indeed eating the cats.
They are eating the cats
in Ohio.
Yes, I mean here's our, as if video evidence wasn't enough back in August. Now she's been
clearly Miss Farrell has mental health problems.
Of course, yeah, and you have to, your heart feels for her, because
I feel more for the cat.
Well, or the family that owned the cat.
I know. Okay, so I just had to get that out there because it's one of those things. Also, this is interesting in the landscape of important legal cases. Tomorrow, the Supreme Court will hear a very important case It's United States v. Skrmetti up in Washington. The
best AG in America.
Jonathan Skrmetti.
He's terrific.
Who, by the way, we may have on our program either Thursday or Friday.
Great.
After the oral argument. A lot of the Tennessee General Assembly leadership is up there in Washington. And our own Aaron Gulbranson, who played a key role in some of this legislation, is up there as well. Now, I can tell you that with the case is basically brought by the left-wing loony ACLU, and there is a child in Williamson County who is, along with his or her parents, a plaintiff in the case. But the Biden administration has jumped in and said, yeah, we're part of this too.
Yep.
The law is very simple. It prohibits puberty blockers, hormone therapy, and genital mutilation for any child under the age of 18.
Right.
Now, the
should not be controversial.
Shouldn't be controversial.
Right? Shouldn't even be a question.
And yet, it is. And it's gotten all the way to the Supreme Court. Basically, all of the courts, the Court of Appeals has basically said, yeah, this law is fine. It's still in effect right now. And so what they're trying to do is overturn the court order that would keep it in place. And it would...
And there's medical organizations that are fighting for this too. I mean, it's a huge cash cow for them.
It's crazy. It's crazy. And so the case before the Supreme Court, there is, and I forget the exact name, it is ACLU is being represented by a transgender, I think it's born female, now male attorney, which seems to me to be, a little bit of showmanship. I don't think just because this person is transgender that means they'd be a particularly superior attorney, although probably they're fine enough.
No, but it makes headlines, and these days that seems to be all
I
that matters to these people.
I have a prediction. When the Supreme Court hands its ruling in probably May of this year, it'll be either a 6-3 or 7-2 victory for the state of Tennessee.
Yeah, I agree. It's a states' rights thing.
On that note, E.J. Haas, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you so much.
And you'll be here Friday,
9 a.m.
9 a.m.
Central.
We'll be back with our third hour and our recovering journalist, Clint Brewer. After this, I'm Michael Patrick Leahy.